Yeah. Oh, all right.
We're on.
I know. Okay, I think we're ready now. We're going to call this August 9th, 2022 Planning Commission meeting to order. We'll start with a prayer.
Let's all pray. Dear Lord, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for all the blessings. We're really thanking you for this rain today. This country's dry and we sure could use it. Lord, we just thank you for our military and our policemen and all the people there that are trying to protect us each and every day. Lord, we just ask you that you would help protect them. Lord, just give them peace and level head and be able to do their job. Lord, as we continue today, we just lift up this board and help us to try to make the best decisions for the county. This we ask in your name. Amen.
Okay. So everybody, would you stand for the pledge, please? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, Stacy, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mark Geary,
Here.
Denise Spooner,
Here.
Jerry Alexander, Lindsey Brown, Tom Shepard,
Here.
John Richwine, John Zimmerman,
Here.
Corey Bolander,
Here.
and Wes Likens.
Here.
Thank you.
And John Richwine wanted me to tell, he's in budget hearings in the next room, so if we get to the part where we need him, we can always go get him. So, that's where we're at. Now, we need to amend the agenda to include the June minutes. So, I make a motion, we amend the agenda.
I'll second that.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same? All right. Do we have to do these separate, or can we do them at the same time?
We do it together.
Okay. So, we've got the,
I wasn't there in one of the meetings. So.
So if it's joint, Mark would be able to vote yes. So if you want to do it separately, Mark would vote on the one that he's present at.
Just separate.
what a pain.
Sorry.
Okay. Let's go with the June minutes. Mark was absent then. Are there any addition or correction to the June minutes?
I move that we approve the June minutes.
A motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes. July minutes. Any addition or correction to those?
The only thing that I saw that needed corrected was it had me presiding over that meeting, and I believe you were here and presided over that, Wes. At the very top.
Yes, you were.
I was here?
Yes, you were.
No.
You were here.
All right. We got that change. Any other? Any other corrections? Good.
Make a motion to approve the July 12th minutes or changes.
Motion?
Second.
Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same? All right. Okay. Rachel, you need to extend your contract. When was it up? Or when is it up?
It was up like last week.
Okay.
So I talked with John. Can you hear me? Yes. I talked with John last week, and he said to continue working as I have been. He sent me an email, I guess, putting that in writing so that we had our bases covered. But yeah, so we need to. The contract is if I'm working the same amount of hours, it would put us through approximately 3 months. However, if you don't need the 3 months, we can scale that. It's just on call. So if we don't use it, it's okay. So it's whatever you
Whatever we need.
for. Yes.
Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to vote on that too. All right, I make a motion, we extend Rachel's contract for the 3 months.
Second.
Okay. Do we have a roll call, please?
Yes.
Yes.
Mark Gary,
Yes.
Denise Spooner,
Yes.
Tom Shepherd,
Yes.
John Zimmerman,
Yes.
Corey Bowlander,
Yes.
and Wes Lykin.
Yes,
Thank you.
motion passes. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to introduce the next petition, or the old business that we have on the agenda, and then I will, this is petition number 2022-Z-006. This was continued from last month. I want to make the statement again, as I did last meeting, that I have a conflict of interest on this petition. I work for HWC Engineering. I'm working here on contract with you guys. The petitioner's engineer on this project is HWC Engineering, so I've not been part of any of the meetings for this particular project. Liz is the staff member from our office who's been working through this, along with Jessica Baston, the county engineer. So with that, I will pass it over to them.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is a continuation of the rezone for Mark Madison for the new subdivision on 800 South and 800 West. The petitioner has asked for a continuance until he gets his traffic study done and a little bit more information from the remonstrators, and kind of work through some stuff on their end. But he would like to speak if that's okay for a moment. I'll let Mark Madison come up. Thank you.
So what we have for is a commission, we have a request for continuance that you can invite the petitioner to ask why he's asking for the continuance, and then vote on the merits of that based on what he tells you. So
Okay.
it's up to you what you want to do, but the petitioner's here to talk to you on it.
That'd be fine. Let's fill us in.
Good morning. Mark Madison, Madison Land Development. Office is at 6330 East 75th Street. Appreciate your time this morning. Just want to take a few minutes and give you an update on where we are. Through the meeting last month, there was a request that we do some traffic analysis, and that work doesn't happen overnight, as most of you know. So we are in the midst of that, getting ready to start the traffic analysis, because we needed to do that during school in order to get proper counts. So they will be starting those counts, I believe it's next week, in order to then do the full analysis for us, and then be able to come back and present to staff and to you the findings of that from the traffic engineering and the traffic analysis. That will help us look at the overall area, on how our subdivision might affect the overall area, as well as the existing performance of those intersections around us. Even though we may or may not affect the service level, we'll at least give you the information that you need to know from the overall area. The other thing is in hearing from the crowd, so to speak, from the folks that live in the area, we've decided to try to go to a different route other than a rental product in the northern part of the subdivision, and we're planning on going to more of an attached single-family product up there that will be for sale instead of for rent. So we're working through those details. I don't have anything I want to present to you, and obviously if we continue, I wouldn't be doing that, but just want to let you know that's the route that we're trying to go down, and continue through that process, and we'll have more details for you for next month. If you have any questions, be happy to answer them. Okay.
Have you had a average, not counting the ones you're changing up there, but the rest of the homes, what the average price would be? Do you have anything like that yet? Or?
I don't know it exactly. I'll be able to come prepared and let staff know ahead of time where that is. It certainly will have a 3 in front of it.
Yeah.
Depending on the results of your traffic study, would that impact or change your plans in any way, depending on what the finding
It might
is?
affect our entrances a little bit, based upon what they find that way. And I think it's more about how do we how do we keep the level of service where it needs to be at the intersections is really the main reason why we're asked to do traffic impact analysis. So they're going to be looking at roads, they're going to be looking at intersections, and they'll come back with some recommendations. And then we'll have to decide whether we can handle those recommendations or not, whether we can financially make those work. And obviously, we'll be working with Jessica quite closely as we get those details and get her response and her information that she wants to see happen in this area.
I know there's another concern everybody has is fire. I don't know if you've done anything on the fire part of
So
it.
we're actually, it's probably went out this morning. We just got our revised layout just recently in the last day or two. So Adam was going to be sending it to the chief and start that conversation. We didn't want to do it until we actually have added 8 acres in the northeast corner. The folks that live there called and asked if we were interested in purchasing, so we've got it under contract, so we have a revised layout now, including that area. So that will now gives us kind of the full Monty of what we have in front of us. Don't look to go any further, so we want to now go to the fire chief with that revised layout and get his information on what he'd like to see for the area. But there's been a little bit of communication since last meeting, but just asked him to hold off until we got to this point.
And do you anticipate having all of this completed for September's meeting?
We hope so. It's a lot of traffic counts that Jessica had asked for, good, bad, or ugly. I mean, it's a lot of work that we have to do. So it's going to be close, but that's our goal, is to come back for next meeting and, let Jessica have it for 3-4 days so she can do her analysis on it prior to the meeting. So that's our goal.
And has there been any discussion in holding some community meetings between your company and the public?
Yes.
And are you doing that before?
We'll do it before the next meeting for sure, but we haven't.
Until you get all this, yeah, right.
We needed more information, right, in order to be able to have that conversation.
Okay.
Has anybody talked to school systems, see if they can handle this many kids?
I believe Jessica had that conversation, and she's not here. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm in contact with her.
Or was it you? Okay.
They, haven't until we know more about the traffic study and stuff.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is not because of any research I've done for this particular petition, but in other communities, we have done the research and talked with the school district, and the school district had actually been in decline for many, many years. I think that a lot of people in South Madison moved to South Madison and they stay in South Madison, and we did not have a lot of different product of housing for maybe empty nesters to move into, so people were staying in their homes longer. I know we've had substantial growth in Ingalls, Pendleton, Green Township and Fall Creek Township, but the school district's message has been consistent in that they have room. I think with the recent rezone in Pendleton, there was still, I think, 400 students that are coming in from other school districts that can be shifted around so that there are more spots available for Pendleton schools.
There's been some talk about an apartment complex going in at the northwest corner of that man development.
At 13 and 800.
Yeah. Has you heard anything more about it? Has anybody heard anything about that? I don't know.
I have not.
And I think there was 280 units going in there, I believe. It's just amazing how much traffic we're going to be throwing on these roads when there's no stoplights. It just amazes me. That's the biggest concern. I was out there yesterday and the day before, just driving around, just looking at it. I was out there Saturday, I believe. And I just can't imagine the amount of traffic we're going to be throwing in that little area.
Thank you.
I was out at your area, I drove all through there, but the school system, I don't even know how they get the buses on the roads right now. I mean, that's not your problem, but I just was really concerned about the traffic situation and the amount of people, the kids, is going to be forced into the school system.
Yeah.
Well, not going to speak to that at this point because we're more in a continuance mode here. So, but we can have more of those conversations in September.
Right.
Any other questions?
Is, one about your development, is there any hard surface you put on these developments? On the exterior?
Hard surface meaning masonry products and such?
Masonry
Yes.
products, hardy siding or anything?
There might be hardy siding in one section. The rest of it will be mostly vinyl siding, but it will have some masonry front to it for sure. You'll see slides of what the product is when we come back.
Right.
Sir, what would you think about, and this is obviously up to these 6 folks, but moving this out to the October meeting rather than the September meeting? You have you just semi-committed to community meetings. There's lots of studies to come in. I know it delays. But there's a lot of public interest in this particular one. I'd hate to have a situation, this is just Jeff talking, not the commission, but have a situation where we come back and we have another continuance and these folks have to come on. It's another month, you're the petitioner, you're more in a position to guide the continuance process than even the commission itself, but I wondered what your thoughts were on that.
Contractually, it puts me in a little tougher spot with our ground seller, just from how that all lays out. But I hear what you're saying, so let me maybe do some work on my side and come back. And I don't know how we would notify though.
Yeah, the issue is the
This is when we need to do it.
If we don't meet here to say it's being continued, then we have to come back and do it then.
Right.
I mean, we can always put out hey, we're going to do this, but from a legal standpoint, until this board votes to a time and date certain.
I will acquiesce to the board and the commission on what they would like to do, and I'll go work it out if I need to go work it out.
I'm gonna agree with Jeff. I don't think you can get it all done by September. Time you have some community meetings and things.
And we don't want to ask all these people.
No, I mean, they're all here
That's
today
fine.
and we're not even gonna have a meeting basically, so. That's a lot of time.
Could we make that motion extending to October? However, if he accomplishes it, we could do an agenda change for September?
Yeah, you can't do that.
Direct notice again.
Right, yep, the noticing.
What's the
That's why I
date?
asked about him accomplishing this by
Can I ask
September,
what the date
because
is
I'm
for
concerned.
that meeting?
October
Yes.
is October 11th,
Okay.
either
I think
September
I think we'll
13th
be
or
okay.
October 11th.
Have a longest day or anything, is it?
Not that I'm aware
We're gonna get through this first.
October 11th is over fall break.
It's gonna be raining too, isn't it?
It's good.
Yeah, 3 of us are gonna be in the field.
But I mean, it's either then or November.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think we can pull it off in September.
But I don't know. He's gonna have to get a lot of stuff done. But I totally agree with you. I think you should have a public meeting before this.
Maybe a couple of them.
At least one, just to get all their input and stuff. I really think we should do that.
Good call, though.
Okay.
Holiday in your book?
I would ask that the planning commission and this board be notified of that public meeting so that we have the
We'll stay
opportunity
in
to
constant
attend.
communication with staff.
Thank you.
Okay. We're ready for a motion. Was this continuous?
I'll make a motion that we continue, get the correct petition 2022-Z-006 to October's meeting.
I'll second that. We have a motion, October 11th. Okay.
At 9 o'clock.
At 9 o'clock.
So at 9 o'clock. The public hearing will be here October the 11th, 9 o'clock for this issue. All right, but if we vote on that.
Who seconded it?
Mark,
Thank you, Mark.
All right, can we have roll call on that, please?
Absolutely. Mark Gary,
Yes.
Denise Spooner,
Yes.
Tom Shepherd,
Yes.
John Zimmerman.
Yes.
Corey Bolander,
Yes.
and Wes Lincoln.
Yes. Motion passes. Now I guess we're going to Drew's parts.
Do I give them a chance to leave or?
I don't care. They can stay or we'll leave.
It shouldn't be fast, or it should be fast. I just want to give you guys an update on the Drews parts. Mr. Drews has requested an extension of time. He doesn't think he can meet his September 1st deadline. He did ask for a special meeting of the board. It did not appear that the board was wanting to do that, wanted to see where we were at in our September meeting. So I just want to, I guess, clarify that if he does not meet that September 1st deadline, I guess I have the opportunity then to do a daily fine on if it's not completed as we had discussed and what the timeline and requirements were placed on him by the Plan Commission. So if there's any other discussion at this time, I guess that's what this is for. And if not, we will talk about it again in September.
When's the deadline again?
September 1st.
And what's the daily fee? Fine.
I think it's up to $2,000 a day.
I know he's gonna argue this because I've heard him say it up here before. He thought it was December.
It originally was. The timeline that I had found in Brad's materials, I found a January 1st deadline. For whatever reason, he thought it was December, I think 31st, which, it's the same thing basically.
Right.
So,
Right.
but when I reviewed everything and I made a updated timeline, I had imposed the September 1st deadline. So if you do want to grant him an extension, I guess this would be the time to do it.
I just know he mentioned that. That's what his argument's gonna
Right.
be.
But
From my perspective, I didn't really see how it would really make a difference with the timeline. After we get to fall and weather is questionable, there's not a lot of ground cover where he's working. So from my perspective, it was going to be a muddy mess. And how do you get equipment out of there that, if we have a soggy fall or we start getting winter weather?
Well, that's the trouble he had last year.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I got some
We're
delays
we're
because
heading
of
right into it again.
the fall.
Yeah, so that's why I moved it up to September 1st. The other reason I moved it to September 1st was he was originally going to be doing some lean-tos, a series of lean-tos on the property, and he would be moving the equipment into the lean-tos.
Right.
Mr. Drews had informed me that he had purchased another property and has a structure that he would be moving the equipment to. So the structure was already existing. There was no time that was needed to construct a lean-to. So,
Yeah.
from my opinion, that should have shortened his timeline.
We'd surely have it in the minutes somewhere when it was changed from December to September.
It was with me, so it's
Right.
been in the last couple months, and I've been very clear on the timeline.
That
It's been
day lost.
emailed.
I just
It's-
know he mentioned, when he was up here,
Yeah.
so.
And he agreed to your recommendation.
Who agreed to my recommendation? Kelly Drews? No, he did not.
I personally feel that this board has been awful lenient with Kelly, and I don't see why we should change it now, that's not personal.
Yeah.
Well, I think that you're doing a fantastic job, Rachel. You've been out there, you're the one that looked at this. I mean, you've given the recommendations, and we made a new schedule with you, and this board voted on it and approved it. So whatever was done in the past with, Brad Newman and prior was done away with when this board accepted the new provisions that you gave us and voted on. So I stand behind you on your decisions, and that's where I feel about this.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
All right, there's really no decision to be made or a motion. That was just kind of the update on the situation. I would invite you guys to go check it out within the next few weeks if you have time, just see the progress that is being made. And then we'll talk about it again in September. I will likely, if we get to the September 1st deadline and he is not meeting that deadline, I'll make sure to inform the board of what I'm doing moving forward. And if there's any issues we need to talk about, we'll talk about it in September.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you much.
All right. I think that's all we got on our agenda. So if you guys want to do a motion to adjourn.
I got one more,
Oh, you got more?
thing, just me.
Okay.
I'm gonna help on this. I wanna get the meetings, I wanna make the time 9 o'clock
Thank you.
for the rest of the meetings.
Thank you.
So I make a motion, we change the meetings back to 9 o'clock.
Second.
A motion second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion to adjourn?
Thank you. 8:45 is going into.
Oh, you can't find parking. I'm like, oh.
I think there was a couple of people that had questions with us, if we can just get
Oh.
some.
It wouldn't be part of the public meeting because we've already continued that.
Yeah.
We
Continue it.
If there is any public comment that is not related to the rezone petition, you can come up and speak, if that's okay. Because I think we typically ask if anyone wants to
Right.
come up and talk.
It just
But
cannot be on the rezone.
It cannot be on the rezone though, because it wouldn't be part of the public hearing because it wasn't formally opened. But the public hearing will likely be formally opened at that October 11th meeting that we discussed when we were talking about the petition.
And if they have a town hall meeting, then they'll be able to speak there too.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Motion to adjourn?
I do have a question. Sorry.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Hang
Hold on now.
It's a quick question. Ann Core, I live at 8489 South 800 West. I just did. The question is for the notifications when the signs, do the signs have to be posted a certain amount of time? Do they have to be on all the properties that are
Ma'am?
included in it?
We're still talking. Sorry about that.
For the notifications for the hearings, there's signs that get put out.
Yes.
I don't know who puts them out. Do they need to be on all the properties that are involved in it? Or do they only have to be in one parcel?
When we did the first notification, they went on all the parcels,
Mm-hmm.
which there was 5, right, Liz, on there? We don't have enough to put every,
I'm just saying that there's only signs on one side of the road and not the other side, so it seems as though that this petition is only for one side.
no, it was put on both sides for the original one.
For the original one, but it's not there now. That's
They
what
don't-
I'm saying.
When it's intended,
The the idea of the signs is to inform of the initial hearing. Once the initial hearing is held, the signs are no longer needed. But hey, this is out there. Anybody that wanted to have notice of that, that's what the signs are for, just for the first hearing.
So where do you find the notice when it's coming up on the agenda? Because I've been looking for the past week and haven't been able to find anything.
It was continued, so it
No,
doesn't.
I understand. I was here. I'm
So
just saying, where's a notification on your website where we can go and find out what the stuff is? Or do we always have to call in?
They are posted as legally required in,
they're not on the website because we're 2 people in the office and we're extremely busy. So I know that doesn't sound right, but I mean,
That's the black.
that's the black
Just-
and white.
Well, right now, we've
Whereas-
made it public that the next meeting is in October, so come back in October.
Well, we'll be here in October. It's not that. It's what about the notification to people? And is there a consistency with it? That's my question.
Notification is legal.
It's legal, it has to be.
I'm just asking if it had to be on both sides of the road.
no, not it. It was originally.
Motion to adjourn. You made a motion, didn't you?
I made a motion, yeah.
Do we have a second?
Somebody signed.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Meeting adjourned.
Yes, thank you. I was going to ask you the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Not only that, did you sell hairs?
Yeah, I know, got tons of ladders.
You know, every once in a